So we need to talk about the Obelisk jump in Mario, I can't remember. Which is this right here. The reason why I'm making this video is because I just watched Crash playing this, and he struggled quite a lot in this jump for reasons you're about to find out. But here's what he had to say about it. So he said he has one big complaint. He thinks the hack's great, but he has one big complaint, and that's this jump in particular, the stupid ass jump to the phone booth, aka the worst jump. Alright, so this jump is actually in course 2. So let's just quickly have a look at what Crash was doing wrong. Alright, so this is from Crash's playthrough. This was the first time he got here. So you see he long jumped to it and ran over the top, and while he was sliding on his butt, he jumped, right? He did that first try. If we slow this down and look at it frame by frame. Alright, so he started butt sliding, that's 1 frame. 2 frames. 3 frames. 4 frames. 5 frames, right? And he jumps. That's a frame perfect jump. That's definitely not intended. I had no idea this was possible. It makes sense that it is possible. But because Crash did it this way, he didn't learn the way that I anticipated that players of the game would learn this jump. So, if we come back to the game now, over here. So as you're on the approach to the jump, there's a sign here, right? So a lot of people read this before they try the jump, but this sign is here so that if you get stuck, you'll pass it a lot and you'll see it, right? So Crash did read this sign. But because he didn't have any trouble whatsoever doing that frame perfect jump, he didn't realize that this sign tells you what you're supposed to do. There's no other signs in the game that tell you how to do a jump, I should add. Like, this is specifically here because this jump is something that I know that pretty much 80 to 90% of people who play this game, if not more, will not know how to do before playing this game. So it says, can't reach the infinity pool? Here's a tip. Long jump onto one of the sides of the peak of the obelisk, then press A and B to jump dive. It's just that simple. You can even hold Z the whole time if you like, right? So that's straight up, it tells you in the game how to do this jump. One thing that I should note is it says the word sides here. I might put emphasis on that on a later patch because most people are approaching it from the front. So, if you approach it from the front, that happens, right? Most of the time. If you try and press A and B, nothing happens. I assume my input display is actually working. Let me just check. Yes, okay. So, trying to jump onto this triangle in front of you and pressing A and B does nothing, right? So yeah, I pressed it twice, then nothing happened. It definitely doesn't work. However, remember how I said you can hold Z if you like. If you hold Z, oops, I missed. If you hold Z and press A and B, you will jump. But notice how the peak ate my jump, right? Which is actually always going to happen. This is specifically because it's shaped like a triangle. It's not always going to happen. You can get a jump off that and actually make it. But generally what happens is going up the slope slows you down and you don't jump as far, right? So you don't want to jump off this one. Like I still can't get it. I'm trying. There we go. So you can hold Z to do it that way, but that way is a lot harder, which is why I said you can hold Z while you do it, because specifically, remember, I was talking about the sides. So let's try and do it on the side now. I'm not going to hold Z. Whoops. Bad example. Again, bad example. It is a hard jump, don't get me wrong. So yeah, not many people know about this at all. That's me holding Z. So maybe I'll change the sign to say you should hold Z, because what happens when you hold Z is you actually get more frames to do it. Yeah, there we go. So that's without holding Z. The thing with not holding Z is it becomes frame perfect, right? So remember how... which is what I forgot, so that's why I couldn't do it then. Which is why Crash was having trouble, right? Same reason. What he was doing was frame perfect, just a different thing. So, like, you can do that. It's really inconsistent, though. If you hold Z... Right? I've done it twice, and I've done it both times. Still holding Z. 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 So, as you can see, that jump is 100% consistent. I did not fail it a single time by approaching it on the side and holding Z. By approaching from the front and holding Z, I failed it several times. It made it very hard. By not holding Z, I made it frame perfect. So now I have like a 1 in 3 chance of getting it, because that's about my consistency for a frame perfect trick. But by holding Z, you have multiple frames, like many, many frames, like the whole time that you're running across that while holding Z. That's a bad example. Like, I'm not sure of the specific. That was probably the 3rd frame, right? Yeah, so the whole idea with this obelisk jump was that most people would have absolutely no fucking clue that that's what you do. And the reason why they have no clue that's what you do is because I've never seen this be required anywhere ever, including in kaizo hacks. I'm sure it's in kaizo hacks, but I've never seen it. It's not uncommon for somebody to do it going forwards. Well, it is, but it's not as uncommon. But sideways, I've never seen. Since I learnt this trick, which I should add, I learnt after 2.5 years of playing this game every day. It's definitely not something that you can just work out unless you're, I don't know, very smart, or you started without knowing anything and you puzzled everything out yourself. Anyway, the key thing here is that most people don't know that holding Z actually does anything. You often hear people talk about how holding A allows you to kick and run faster up slopes. Holding Z does affect what you do on slopes as well. And people sometimes say you should hold Z instead of holding A. But, like, actually, most of the time you probably don't. But for this jump, you do. So, the reason why I wanted to show people this and teach people this is because since I learnt this trick, which I learnt by watching Andrew SM64 while he was playing Realm Invasion in the Winter SM64 ROM Hack Marathon in 2020. Since I learnt it, I use it in every speedrun I do. Every single route I have made and every single route that I am doing since I've learnt this jump uses this tech. This tech, like, definitely not something you would think of but on your own. Definitely not something that is usually required, but 100% will come in handy if you're trying to do speedrun stuff and kaizo stuff. So that's why I wanted to teach it to people. So apologies if you got trolled. You were never meant to get to B3 without knowing that that's how you do this jump. So Crash, I'm really sorry. The main problem there is that you're extremely good at the game, and I never knew that you could do that because I'm not as good as you. I'm not going to change it or anything, but congratulations on making that jump, because I never could. So what's the moral? Moral of the story is, if something seems too hard, you're probably doing it wrong. Try something else. Definitely people have been thinking this is harder than it really is. I probably shouldn't say that it's easy, but it's not something that you have to be a kaizo player to do. It's not something you have to be a speedrunner to do. It's just something that you've probably never thought about. So I hope that helps people.